touch his airplane. They're going to do a high five. It's really, really cool to watch. And it's all coming up in just a little while. Now,
Dave flies, but he doesn't use an airplane.
that's for sure. 175 miles an hour on two wheels.
Now, folks, taxi we get the guys shut up. A taxi we have a Curtis Busher, and I've got Andrew King up here now. Andrew, Larry, when these guys get out, just stop me. I'm not looking at it.
Okay, I just want to get the guys up out of the cockpit since they are back in the chocks right now, and they're about to chop their engines, I think. We must have overfueled those airplanes. Okay, I see the Red Eagles coming down. Here comes the prop on the pit special. Canopies are open. Almost. Come on, guys, you're cramping my style. Those canopies are open. They can hear your applause. Let's hear it. For Dan McClung in the red airplane, Billy Worth, the red, white, and blue pit special.
And for Mr. Larry Rutherford to the announcer for him this weekend.
And any other weekend. Howdy, it's all yours. Take it away, pal.
Thanks, Larry. Andrew, man. Why?
Actually, we get that question a lot, Howdy.
Let me tell folks, these guys, Andrew and Bob, is flying the airplane. You guys take turns flying the airplane.
Right.
And Bob built the airplane.
Bob built about 90% of it. I helped him with a little bit. We had 4 or 5 other guys.
That's why I let you fly it. Okay.
That's part of the reason. Yeah. We've been good friends, and I think his wife has a life insurance policy on me. But
your name is right there in the bottom.
Yes. Right.
Now this airplane is. Tell us about this airplane. The history with this aircraft.
It's a replica of the first airplane to land and take off on a ship in 1911, 100 years ago this year. And that was the whole purpose for building the replica, was to celebrate the centennial of naval aviation.
Which is this year.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, it took about 3 years to build. Bob was just about to retire from the airlines. He was an airline pilot for 20 or 25 years, I think, and just about retired and started building it. And so he got to work on it pretty much full time for 2.5, 3 years, about 4,000 man hours in the construction.
But most times it's the aircraft like this. The guys build them, and ladies build them, and they take the wings off, they put them in a trailer, they truck them to the air show, put them back at the air show, put it on display, and maybe fly it at the air show. You guys are flying this thing all across the United States.
Yeah, we're not that smart. Yeah, it goes about 55 miles an hour, and you can go about an hour at a time. I think an hour and 10 minutes is the most we've flown. It carries 2 hours of gas, but it's going so slow, you really want to stop earlier. And it's about an hour is all you can sit in it.
Say it's not an aircraft limitation, it's a pilot limitation.
Okay, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, we're planning to fly it all the way to Detroit for a show in July, and then to Oshkosh.
And you started flying this aircraft. It was constructed back in November, was it? October this past year, okay.
Yep.
And you guys are flying this airplane in the wintertime.
Oh, boy.
If you folks didn't see it, there's nothing in front of these guys out there. It's a pusher. You're sitting out in the breeze.
It's the coldest I've ever been in an airplane, is flying that to Patuxent River, Maryland in March. And it was about 38 degrees out.
Oh.
And after about 20 minutes, your fingers are frozen solid. And, of course, you can't move. You can't go anywhere. And it's hard enough to fly. You can't let go of the control wheel. And again, the question comes back to why are you doing that? But there's a lot of satisfaction in it. I tell people it's not so much fun, but it's very satisfying.
Curtis was not big on ergonomics back then, was he?
No, well, of course, ergonomics weren't such a big thing. A lot of cars were open. People were used to riding horses, so they weren't so worried about ergonomics.
Now, what modification have you made to this aircraft to make it more up-to-date, if you want to call it that, with since it's reliability standpoint?
Right. Well, aerodynamically, it's pretty much 99% as it was. What we did was we have what we say is a modern engine on it. It's a C-125 Continental, 125 horsepower, and we tell everybody, yeah, we have a modern engine. It's only 65 years old instead of 100.
That came out about 60 years ago.
Right. And we put brakes on it. We wanted to be able to fly it in busy environments. We flew it over the Statue of Liberty a couple times this week, doing air shows.
You flew over the Hudson River with this thing?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys are brave.
Yep, circled the Statue of Liberty, saw ground zero from it. It was one of the most memorable flights of my flying career, I have to say.
There he goes.
Now you can see Bobby's starting to take off now. The airplane tends to over-rotate. You have to be very careful when you're taking off not to get the nose too high. And a day like today, in calm winds, it's kind of fun to fly. Anything over 5 miles an hour, it's a little bit of work. I think we got 10 or 12 miles an hour probably today, and it'll be a lot of work for them. It has twice as much wing as a Piper Cub. It weighs about the same, so it really gets thrown around. And I tell people, if you have more than 10 mile an hour wind and you fly for half an hour, you're going to be scared at some point.
So how much time have you put on this aircraft today?
We have about 65 hours on it.
Wow.
Bob has a little more than I do. I probably got 30. He's probably got close to 40 or so, or 35. So yeah, about 65 hours. It flew in Newmarket, Virginia was where it was built, about 120 miles west of Washington, D.C. And then we flew off the FAA time and then flew it to Norfolk, Virginia last fall for a Navy Centennial event. Flew it up to Patuxent River, Maryland, at the NAS Patuxent River this spring to do some flight testing for them so they could make a simulator for their museum, and have done several other events. This is the first real big civilian air show we've done with it, is right here.
Now, the original Curtis Pusher aircraft, when it landed on the USS Pennsylvania, correct on that?
That's right, yep.
Now, how big was the landing platform? Folks are going to love this. The landing platform they took off and landed on.
They had a platform on the front of the Pennsylvania, which was, I think, a light cruiser, that was 135 feet long and 35 feet wide, and the airplane's 37 feet wide, so the tips of the ailerons hang over the tips. They had 25 ropes with 25-pound sandbags on each end of each rope and 2x4s holding them up off the platform. And there's coat hooks. If you look at the airplane later, there's coat hooks under the keel that snag these ropes. So it was the first arrested landing also in history. And it's funny, really, the principle of it hasn't changed in 100 years.
It's true. They cut back on with 3 wires now, but
right. But the other thing was, of course, it was built onto a normal ship. There was no aircraft carriers, and at the end of the 135-foot platform was a superstructure. So you either stopped or you crashed, and there was no going around.
You're going to be much shorter after that. Now,
right.
Who got the first flight?
Bob made the first flight.
Okay.
Yep, and then I made the second flight. Of course, we've got it on YouTube, but...
I'll tell you, but Bob paid you probably the best compliments you're ever going to hear yesterday after talking with you. He said, I know 2 pilots can fly this airplane. They'll let fly this airplane. One of them's me. The other one's you. He spoke very highly of you yesterday about your capabilities of flying this aircraft.
Oh, I appreciate that. Bob and I have been friends for a long time, and we've flown around in his monocoop a lot and shared a lot of flying experiences. So this is certainly one of the most unique ones.
Now you're going from here to Reading? Was it next weekend?
Next weekend, Reading, and then Grimes Airport in Bethel, Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, it's a nice little area with lovely grass strip up there. You've been there before?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you love that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then we have 5 weeks to get it from Bethel, Pennsylvania, which is near Harrisburg, to Detroit for the Thunder over Michigan at the end of July.
That sounds about right.
So yeah, if going over the mountains will be the trick. If we can make it over the mountains into Ohio, then it won't be so bad.
Now, Bob was saying yesterday this airplane is the double nickel aircraft, he calls it.
Oh, yeah, right. It goes about 55 miles an hour, yeah. When he came down here from Cross Keys, which is, I think, about 24 miles away, he was averaging about 38 miles an hour.
You guys snuck in here Thursday night, I believe it was.
Thursday night? Friday night. It was Friday night.
I'm sorry, Friday night, just before dark.
Right. He was
able to get that aircraft in here.
Hoping the wind, usually, in the old days, they tended to fly very early in the morning or very late in the day because, of course, the wind was less then. And a lot of the exhibition pilots, they got in trouble because you'd have 10,000 people out there that never seen an airplane fly and really wanted to see it fly. And if the wind was blowing, there was a lot of pressure on them to fly. But we try to keep it, to say 10 or 12 miles an hour is about the most we want to fly it in.
Yeah, we're pushing, looking here right now. Wish I could see that. About 10 mile an hour winds. It's double what he doesn't like. So.
Right, yeah. I think so.
He's going to have a little bit of crosswind too, it looks like, if he goes on the main runway out there.
I think he's going to go on 1-4 probably. The wind side looks like it's come around to 1.
Good for him. Now you've got a little support card at the golf cart. Where are you into?
He's out there on the corner.
You add a little something to that aircraft once it gets on the ground, just make it easier to taxi on the ground.
Yeah, the nose wheel is completely fixed on it. There's no steering at all. You can make gentle swerves on the runway, but that's about it. So we've added a little taxi wheel that we can bolt on real quick once he gets down. But you can see he's really working. With this much wind in the middle of the day with the thermals, the thing really bounces around.
It sure sounds good, though.
It does sound good, yeah.
Oh, he's on the runway, looking good so far.
Bob is now exhaling.
He started breathing again, you mean, right? This is great to see this aircraft come around like this. Thank you guys for bringing it. Thanks guys for building it to begin with.
Oh, you're welcome. And the whole point of it is to show it to people.
Let's get Bob back. Hold your applause when Bob gets back to the aircraft. It's going to take a couple minutes to get taxi way back here. But it's just nice to be able to see somebody take the time to do that. I was talking to Bob yesterday that you can buy a kit to construct with the aircraft. Somebody has gone into CNC machining and done the hard work, I guess you would have called it, making the metal parts.
Right, the Curtis Pusher is such a classic airplane from that era that there was enough people interested in them, and a guy who was building one for, it hangs up in the airline terminal in Rochester, New York. He put everything on the metal parts on CAD-CAM, and so he could just go to a laser cutter or a water jet cutter and have all the metal parts cut out, and that helped Bob a lot when he was building it.
Bob's done a